And we are back from a slightly unscheduled break. But it is well deserved. People needed to use the restroom, I assume. Anywho, the band is streaming off stage, descending to the 3rd floor of the Purgatory. And in doing so, the coterie has slowly begun to regather. Trenton, having seated himself at the bar, enjoying his glass of Synthacel, which had a very strong and powerful kick to it. Goes and he coughs a bit. Alright, you guys are free to do whatever you like.
I have a quick question about the Synthacel burn. Does Trenton feel any effects from it other than the typical blood? I mean, is there some sort of like intoxication?
No. Basically, Synthacel is made to synthesize blood, at least in my world. And aside from the strange effect of the burning sensation inside of you, it is pretty addictive. It's like a Coke. Once you drink one, you want another one. And another one. And you can see how this could easily cost a kindred a pretty fortune, especially since this eliminates the need to hunt. And is so readily available, apparently.
Right. Also lets you breathe lightning.
Anywho.
Yeah, Trenton coughs a little bit as the coterie comes to the bar, or as we join together, or wherever, and says that...
Actually, Lucia is still managing some of her own personal business now.
I will find Mr. Maddox.
Cool. Hey, Charles. It's like, man, cowboy coffee ain't safe drinking, but this Synthacel stuff can be real dangerous. Have you tried this yet?
I'll refrain, Mr. Maddox. I find it quite a dent in the wallet, and I'm distrustful of anything from Maxwell.
Yeah, I was skeptical at first, too, but, ooh boy, this stuff's good.
Boy cooks a mean drink.
And Trent sticks his finger in the glass to get the clinging Synthacel.
Yes, well, I'm I suppose, a more organic type, say, waving a hand back towards the mosh pit. But, Mr. Maddox, now that we've had our fill, perhaps we should go back to the matter at hand, say, adjusting tie and the like. This place has a few kindred about that might be willing to grant us a bit more information on both of our particular problems that we share.
Yeah, I think we should get in contact with some of these kindred. That sounds like a good idea. But I'm also going to keep my eye out for some of Rebecca's friends that she goes out with, or was going out with, because I think they might have come to this spot once or twice.
Yes, I say, kind of waving my hand and looking back towards the crowds. I'm sure someone will have information on your cousin, daughter, whatever.
Sister.
That's it, yes, sister. Good of you to know. Where is your teacher?
Oh, I don't know. I think she's mingling with some blood doll around here somewhere.
Anywho, by this time, Lucia goes and she finishes licking her lips as she looks over at Dana as Dana kind of fixes her hair. Almost unnatural confidence about her.
It's at this moment that Lucia takes a napkin and just kind of looks about, scrabbles around for a pen, keeps one on her person, writes her cell phone number and says, "Call me again sometime," and puts a little heart and puts it in her hand and says, "You'll have more than plenty of courage to join a mosh pit now. Call me sometime when you want to get back together."
Sure. She goes and she smiles. She takes it, she folds it up and puts it in her purse.
And then she starts throwing 200-pound men around in the mosh pit.
It's with that she gets Lucia gets up and heads back to the bar where she last saw Trent.
Yeah, you guys all rejoin back at the bar together.
Ah, Miss Cole. I had a question for you, actually.
I may have an answer for you.
Earlier yesterday evening, after I departed Elysium, I had begun searching for information in Red's side of town, and encountered a bit of bad blood, apparently, between myself and several strangers wielding shotguns and driving in a van with a large silver ankh on the side. Can you perhaps know of any particular locals or organizations that bear that symbol? It sounds like it's more on your side of the street. I try my best to describe the ankh. And
concerning Lucia's background, would that ankh be at all familiar with her first vampiric uncovery?
You're speaking of the Circle of the Crone?
No, I'm speaking of the Camarilla.
Oh, the Camarilla. No, it's not.
Okay, it's not familiar?
No.
Would it then be at all familiar with her? Vampiric lore.
Yeah, I was gonna say... actually, I really don't think vampiric lore is gonna help you here specifically, because it's not an action directly from a vampire. I mean, you can't assume that it's a vampire just because of the fact that they're driving a van with a silver ankh painted on it.
Only vampires.
But no, I mean, like...
Everybody who drives those vans with silver ankhs are vampires, of course.
Well, no. It's not so much that is... I'm trying to remember if that sign ever appeared in vampiric lore.
Oh, the ankh? Yeah, well, the ankh would be common knowledge to anybody. I mean, even you out of character, I assume, would know what an ankh stands for, so it'd be common sense to know that your character would know what an ankh stands for.
So there's little robots that deliver messages on the Death Star.
Well, I'm... From camera...
For those of you who might be listening who don't know, the ankh is a symbol for eternal life.
I was just saying, like, because of her background and stuff, and uncovering Camarilla information and stuff, they had the ankh as their primary logo, as it were. So I was wondering I was wondering if she knew of any copycats that used that logo.
Ah,
the dog gorilla.
As of right now, nothing directly comes to mind that you're familiar with. It sounds familiar. I mean, you probably could tell him what you know about, the Camarilla, how the Camarilla would use that particular logo, so forth. But as far as any modern groups, no, nothing comes to your mind.
For the most part, Mr. Tybalt, I don't think that symbol has any bearing other than the overuse of its metaphorical meaning in today's modern society.
Ah. How fortuitous. Well,
Charles, while you were gone checking out the Carthians, there was a bunch of commotion at the Elysium. Some vampire came in and with guns a-blazing and was disturbing the whole joint. Got escorted out eventually.
I kind of
it was quite the scene.
I kind of scrunch up my face. A vampire just walked in toting guns and
I kind of let her in on accident, but yeah, that's basically how it went.
Ah.
Looks like some people have no respect for the dominant vampire culture around here.
No. I suppose some don't. This happened yesterday.
Yeah, well, you were
night,
gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure we're safe for the moment in this club. Trent? I'm under the idea that your sister may have been, how to put this gently, a newborn werewolf of sorts.
What?
How foul.
The pattern in the bedroom and the apartment seemed to indicate that maybe she underwent a transformation while in bed. But that doesn't explain the vampiric evidence I found either. It would appear that either you are being set up or you are being used as a pawn. And your sister may or may not, unfortunately, be connected to it all.
Wait, so are you saying that my sister might still be alive?
I'm saying she might still be very alive and very furry.
Jesus. Well, I don't know if this is good news or bad news.
Well, there are a couple of avenues that we can explore. We can either confront the sheriff, which would probably be severely a bad idea.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well,
Because
if we accuse the sheriff of setting us up or involving you in any way, then we're opening ourselves up to criticism, and if we call into question certain judgments of a well-renowned kindred who is very fair in her business matters, then we could be punished for such.
Why do you think the Jillian had something to do with this?
I think she either instigated it or was set up like you were.
what evidence do you have to suppose this?
I have found a fraction of what appears to be her cloak among the bedding of his sister.
Jacket, not cloak.
Jacket, cloak, it's the same thing.
Thank you, propaganda beer.
Anyway,
speak.
the other avenue we have, which may be twice as dangerous, but maybe slightly beneficial, is if we were to seek information from one of the tribes around Eden.
That would be quite risky, to put it lightly, Miss Cole.
Either avenue is fraught with danger. Of course, I am really interested to see on how this ties into Synthocell and the warehouse matters.
My thoughts exactly. And my own suggestion, actually. The sheriff had asked of us, gesturing back to Maddox with a shake of the head, to investigate into this Synthocell business before any of these other matters tied up. Now, that was either a distraction on her part, which I severely doubt. She could have come up with a better goose chase to encourage than that. Or it does actually have some valid issue on the matter at hand. If we bring any sort of success to the sheriff, we have a valid excuse to pry information from her. Or at least, politely intone such things. Not only that, but it is an important matter to engage in for the good of all the kindred in the area.
Well, I'm confused here. What's the connection between the Synthocell and the weapon shipment?
That is what we are trying to find out.
Well, let me suppose it to you this way, Mr. Maddox. We have a wealthy businessman and a communist. A communist that's bringing in weapons into the city.
And a communist. A wealthy businessman and a communist walk into a bar. Oh, wait, I can't tell this one in public. Anywho, keep going.
Communist
Sorry.
whose business is normally not interfered with to any large degree from the wealthy businessman until recently. When we engage into any sort of investigation into this, Synthocell is one of the first things that comes up. So, and not only this, but all this recent information has to seem to tie together with this Synthocell. Your sister's disappearance, a personal assault on my own person, the werewolves actively taking a stance, apparently invasions into Elysium by gun-toting, random walking in, being invited vampire mercenaries, and, well, it rained yesterday. I assume that has something to do with it.
And it rained yesterday. Oh, I should have mentioned it is still extremely cloudy and extremely stormy, although it is not currently raining.
Oh.
You, every once in a while, you'll hear like thunder off in the
I
distance.
actually thought it
but no
did rain. Okay.
It did rain yesterday, not so far, not tonight.
So we can assume our problem is not that we have too few threads to pick. We have too many. We need merely grab onto one and follow it to its end, and that will take us to the next advisable course. Personally, I like the one that involves us interrogating someone who won't either rip us to shreds or shoot us in the face with a magnum.
Yeah, well, every trail has puddles, so I guess we gotta get our boots muddy.
Are you full of these anachronisms?
Yeah, I try.
Yes. Miss Cole? My God, she's dead!
No, I'm just merely thinking of our options.
By this time, the bartender walks over towards you. He's like, "Excuse me, Miss Lucia?" He says, as if half asking and half instructing.
Yes.
This came for you. He goes and he slides a folded up piece of paper towards you.
I slide the paper towards me and open it up and read it within what privacy I can afford.
It just says, the 3rd floor is a Colin. Devin.
This is an interesting avenue. I have some business to attend to.
Oh, raising a pseudo-brow.
That is the complicated part.
The simple part?
The simple part is whether or not I need you with me.
Oh ho ho, that sounds like a burn to me.
Get out of here, bro pyre! He's just following us around.
Who is this guy?
It's like a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids. Who is that guy?
I hate that guy.
God. I mean, I keep high-fiving him, but...
Anywho.
Sorry.
Oh.
Lean back against the...
So, what is Miss Lucia's course of action?
Tell you what. You two decide what we're going to do. I'm going to meet up and see if I can't unravel more of this mystery that we find ourselves falling deeper and deeper into. And with that, she turns to the bartender and says, "Lead the way, please."
He goes and he leads you towards the elevator, motions you over in that direction. He tells you, the specific order of codes to put in, so that way you can instruct the elevator to go down to the basement floor. After a couple of moments, of course, you do just that. The elevator descends a bit further than it normally would, and you are in the basement. It opens. There's a red sort of velvet satin curtains hanging along the wall, and a soft and sort of velvety carpet. Some of the eyes go and they turn to you, some don't. This doesn't seem as hoity-toity as, say, Elysium, but it certainly does have a lot of similar faces. You can see Devin sitting in the back along with some of his bandmates.
And I assume that's who beckoned me, so she's just going to casually make her way to Devin.
You go and Lucia starts walking over, and as Lucia walks over, Devin kind of goes and looks up. He's like, "Miss Cole, I'm glad you could join us."
It's a pleasure to see you again, Mr. Masters.
"Just Devin will suffice," he says, a little agitated. Obviously he doesn't like formalities. Although perhaps a small part of him appreciates it.
She nods and looks for an open seat where she won't be too close to anyone. Nods and says, Very well, Devin.
They go and they kind of make way. He goes, let me introduce you to the band. This is Carcass. He goes and he motions over towards the vampire with the curly sort of afro-ish hair. That's Kink. He goes and he motions over towards the vampire with the dreads. And that's Persephone. He motions over towards the young girl who also does backup singing as well as anything else that they need at the moment.
It is a pleasure to meet you all.
So, I was a little interested and surprised that you would frequent a place like this.
While it may not be too much of my scene, sometimes the need to hunt does particularly prevail. And you never know what you may find in any sort of environment, after all. Isn't that right? And she smiles.
Yes, very true, very true. I'm perhaps just a little worried for your safety.
She blinks a little, and why would that be, Mr. Devin? Devin, sorry. Formality comes at such a high price when you're raised as I was.
Well, as you may or may not know, in any situation or case, the walls have eyes and ears. And let's just say you might have stumbled onto something. I'm worried that isn't intentional. Is intentionally meant for you to find, like breadcrumbs. Somebody is leading you into a direction which I'm fearful for your continued existence.
I am wary as such, too. This seems a little too... lucky, I suppose, would be the correct nom de plume.
I think who you really gotta watch out for, though, is that child of yours.
Child?
Well, I'm sorry, I assumed he was your child. I mean, you do take after him, don't you?
We have no relation before and or after. Rather, the connection that we share is one brought about by the higher-ups.
Well then, I guess common mistake. He does seem to follow you like a lost puppy. But there is more to him than meets the eye, or at least, as is what I have been led to believe.
I have my theories on that as well.
He kind of goes and he scratches his chin a bit. There's a lot I wish I could tell you, but I'm bound by words. Words that go unspoken. But all I can tell you is the lead that you are on is very close to that of your other coterie mates, more so than you think. There's a common line that connects them. If you follow one line, you're bound to unravel the entire tapestry. In doing so, will lead you to all your answers.
Well then, might I perhaps chance on a boon from you?
If you wish. He says curiously.
I stumbled upon a recent anomaly which has piqued my curiosity that may or may not be related to this. Would you happen to know of anything of a rising storm?
The storm's been on the rise since the nomads started moving in. We've been seeing them. I've been seeing them. He says, kind of retracting his words a bit. Since we've been traveling, all across, well, these United States of America.
And would this...
It's almost as though they're following us in a way, but I don't know. The storm is following the nomads, and the nomads they're a problem in and of themselves. I mean, I can appreciate what they stand for, so could any good Carthian. They want change, and who doesn't? You know, the system is broken, but he goes and he coughs a bit. There's a difference between change and outright chaos. Change must be for a reason.
Would you perhaps say it's a good estimation that this rabbit hole I'm currently venturing down would lead to the eye of the storm?
He kind of goes and you can tell that he really wants to tell you, but almost as though something is almost literally holding his tongue. I really can't say, but all I can do is apologize for the events that have happened to you. I can assure you that I in no way had anything to do with them, but they are of a making and design similar to my own train of thought.
You wouldn't happen to have a piece of paper on you, would you?
He goes and he kind of snaps his fingers, and one of the band members goes and he whips out a little notebook and slides it over to you.
She takes the paper and writes her number on it, and then folds it and hands it to him. She goes, "When you need a favor, go ahead and call this number."
911.
867-5309? I don't understand.
That's a terrible song. He goes and he gets it and he folds it up and places it inside of his front jacket pocket, of course. And for you, like I said, remember, follow the breadcrumbs, but be wary of what lies at the end.
I'll do one even better, Devin. And instead of following the breadcrumbs, I will follow the dragon's tail.
Ah, yes, quite. He goes and kind of smiles to you. Obviously, offering, if you wish to stay longer or if you need to depart.
Sadly, the night grows long, and I have things to investigate.
Of course, remember what I said. I don't know if you'll see me again, but like I said, I will be at the Ravencrest Manor. This was my one gig here in town. She doesn't let me out very much, so
Lucia...
I had to make use of the time I could.
Lucia stands up for a bit and bows respectfully and starts to turn around and leave. And then she turns back around and smiles a little bit. I don't suppose you'd be willing to do the tiniest favor, would you?
By all means, what do you need?
There's a girl on the second floor, kind of dazed and very happy. Mm-hmm. She could use an autograph from you.
Aww.
Consider it done.
Thank you for your time, and I hope your night goes well. And with that...
Okay, all that was
yes.
going on. What does Trenton and Charles do?
Charles in charge.
I'm thinking that we're... are we checking out the vampire population, or the groups that are around in the club floor?
That's up to you guys.
I could see us doing that. I think that's a valid option. Yeah.
So
I'm going
there's somebody...
control for actual vamp information instead of nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
If there's anyone new or somebody that we saw from Elysium that might know something about the warehouse. And
actually, now that you mention the nomads, I'm going to look for specifically either members of Red's particular group or actual nomads, if there are any just happen to be wandering around.
There doesn't seem to be any nomads in this particular area, or at least none that strike out to you immediately. However, you can give me a wits plus
composure.
No, it's not a perception check.
So I'm good at those.
It's an idea check.
Wits plus smarty things. Expression?
A wit plus socialize.
I'm cool with that. Would campaigning help me here?
No, not this.
That's never going to help me. Three successes.
Of course, it clicks on you so very, very well. You do know somebody within the magical community who has given you insight from time to time whenever you're at odds with what to do, especially given this current web of threads that have yet to be connected.
I was thinking that, but I was kind of holding that as a...
It has popped into your mind.
I was holding that as kind of a last resort kind of thing, and especially not a public event with Trent and Cole around.
You see that there is a girl, Trenton. She's walking by. Her eyes seem to be a greenish, then a bluish, then a reddish. They seem to fluctuate. You kind of shake your head a bit. You don't know if this is the effects of maybe the synthesol that you drank, or maybe, it's just the lighting. Her hair also seems to swish in the same sort of hypnotic pattern.
Trenton reaches out and gently touches her to get her attention. Howdy, ma'am.
She turns to you and she smiles wide. Hi!
Hello. He's at a loss for words, a little taken aback. What's your name?
She giggles a bit. My name? Wow, that's a surprise. She laughs. Not a lot of people ask me that anymore.
Well, I would sure like to know.
I'm Pandora. Pandora, as in Pandora's box, as in, owner of the nightclub.
Oh, yeah. I've been there a couple times.
You don't know me at all, do you? She says, kind of pouting. That's terrible, and you are terrible for lying. You are just the worst kind of the worst kind.
Hey, I said I knew the club. I would be honest and say, I don't know you. Although I kind of wish I did.
Oh, she kind of goes and she gives a giggle. So then, who are you, cowboy? She says with a laugh.
I'm Trenton. You can call me Trent.
Trent pinches a tent. So then, Mr. Trent Pincher, what can I do for you? She kind of blinks a bit. Her eyes blinking a bit too much than perhaps they should.
What are you doing here? Should you be looking after the club?
Well, that's what I'm doing, silly. I'm making sure everybody's having fun. Fun, she says. Obviously spelling it F-U-N-N-A-H.
Fun. Well, I sure am having a blast. So, wait, does Trent know, can he sense that is there like the taint, can he sense that she's vampire or not?
You know what? Go ahead and give me a... Fuck. I would also like to point out for everybody listening, I am not a big fan of Predator Taint, so,
right.
Yeah.
It's just a silly, it's not a...
Well, I'm not gonna, fight her or run away from her.
No. It's just,
You sniff the air twice and punch her in the head.
No, in my personal opinion, the Predator tank kind of kills the aspect of the game, especially with the whole masquerade concept.
Right, like you shouldn't
because
know.
if you can instantly tell who's a vampire, especially when somebody's trying to masquerade as a human, it kind of defeats the purpose. In my
Do you want to give
opinion.
us a hard and fast rule about it right now? So, we should...
yeah. Just go ahead and roll your blood potency.
Oh, okay.
Flat out. I guess for you it'll be just...
1, alright.
2 dice? Yeah, just 1, I'm sorry, 1 dice.
Oh, man. Wait, is that a, oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, it's not.
Dice?
That's when you have none, right?
Yeah, no, it's just 1. Roll a 1. 1.
So you are not Trent Maddox, taint sensor.
Ooh, the taint.
Yeah. I think it's really funny because you guys are doing a lot of this, like, can I sense this? And nobody has Auspex.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. It seems Auspex would come in much more handy than I thought it would.
We got bullet armor speed dumb, though.
Bullet armor speed dumb.
0 successes.
You're not able to quite actually get a fix on her. Her emotions and her state just seem to be all over the place. If she is a kindred, she is one of the very disturbed area.
Alright, well actually Trent's just going to be up front. He's going to say, what are you?
What am I? She goes and she blinks. I'm Pandora. We've met before. Remember? She says, blinking. Just 5 seconds ago.
Oh, how could I forget?
You said hello to me, and I said hello back.
Oh, and I will never forget.
Are you a little slow? She says, and she pats the tip of your cowboy hat.
Well, I might talk slow, but I can think fast.
Good for you.
So this is your club?
Yes.
What can you tell me about the, go ahead.
She goes, yes. And then after a long pause, she goes, I think.
You want to have a drink with me?
Kind of goes and she blinks and she looks around a bit nervously. I really shouldn't. I have things to do, people to kill. I mean, scratch that, reverse it. People to do, things to kill. I mean, I'm busy. Says a bit nervously. But not in the creepy nervous way. In the cute nervous way. Like she's stammering over her words.
Come on, just have one drink.
I said no! She screams at the top of her lungs and suddenly everybody around her stops. I'm busy.
Oh boy. Alright, well I'm gonna...
By this time, Lucia would come back up and just as Pandora would say, I said no! And then, like, everything in the club kind of goes silent for a minute. Yeah,
Could Lucia, like, see just where that came from?
Yeah. It's like, it's easily within visual range. You can see Trenton talking to this girl.
And then Lucia's gonna make her way as fast as she can right down to him.
Making my way.
Okay. But I appreciate the offer, and I will gladly take you up on it some other time. For right now, the mistress is calling me, and I need to go see what she wants, otherwise she will get mad.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure was always mine, because that's what I do. She gives a soft little giggle. She turns to kind of skip off.
There is no doubt.
But she is evil.
Lucia, who is that?
Would Lucia recognize her?
Give me a... No, you would not recognize her. But you can give me an intelligence plus occult to recognize what she possibly is.
And will that fall under vampiric lore as well?
Yes, yes it will.
Victory.
Na 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 na.
I am rolling 7 dice now. I only got 1 success.
You can tell right away from her show-stopping success. She would be, from what you can tell, a Deva, but she seems to be of a very, very diluted bloodline. Your first guess would, of course, be Malkovian, but that is not a Deva bloodline. You have heard of a great deal of Deva bloodlines. One particularly comes to mind, which is the Chaosid.
Oh.
The Chaosid are attempts, or rather lack thereof, of melding Fey blood within a kindred. And so forth, you might have said. Interesting individuals.
Lucia turns to Trent. She is a very interesting specimen. I'll say that for certain.
Well, what in the hell is she?
She's a vampire, can't you tell?
Well, no.
I'm still leaving!
Echoing across the dance floor.
Trent gives her a thumbs up.
Anyway, I have some information.
Great.
It appears that we are being led by the nose like lambs to the slaughter, no matter what path we may choose. So, I would propose to the two of you, should we confront the sheriff and possibly have the entire vampiric court on our shoulders, or should we risk being torn asunder by a pack of very angry werewolves?
I apologize. Am I there? I thought I'd wandered off some.
Yes, you are there.
Okay. Well.
Remember, you were kind of swantering off, and then as you were swantering off, that's when this whole scene with Pandora took place.
Okay.
You missed
chance
what?
to interact, but never mind.
Chance to interact with who?
Okay. Well, Miss Cody?
I apologize for that, then.
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, that's your bad.
It's my bad.
So basically you're saying we don't have any options. Any good options.
Oh, no, we have options, but whatever option we take is going to go down the same path, so to speak. I say we follow what trail is the hottest and go after your sister by investigating any local werewolf pack. Perhaps we may find one a bit more friendlier than the one that was chasing us.
I kind of...
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Miss Cole, I have a third potential route I might take.
Yes.
It would require a bit of that sample you acquired in Mr. Maddox's haven.
I need that for actual further study myself.
Simply some of it, then? I'd rather not go back to that apartment and gather more.
Unfortunately, for the time being, we cannot go back to that apartment. And please elaborate on this supposed third route before I offer what little evidence I hold that may protect us from further damages.
Well, let me say this, Miss Cole. I take out the second bottle of blood that I took from Mr. Maddox's apartment. That was from the floor, not from the bathroom. I have this, which is from Mr. Maddox's living room floor. I suspect that it won't be enough information for what we're going for who I'm going to bring it to. Whoever I bring it to will be able to give us a lot of information on the owner of this blood. Name, probably location, perhaps even motive. But
I can do you one better, Mr. Tybalt. The blood on the floor and around the apartment that wasn't related to the blood found in the mirror is not kindred blood. So it would not It would not trace to other kindred. Instead, it was rather bestial. The viscosity of it was very primal. If anything, it only further cements that we should investigate one of the local tribes.
Miss Cole, this is such as I expected, I kind of say. And please do not assume that my information gathering sources are strictly limited to kindred methods. Now, obviously, if I wanted to find a kindred who could trace another kindred through blood, I would merely go to you, Miss Cole. That seems to be your apt to success, or at least your orders, particular methods. This is, an outside contractor. To the dance. Let's call him a shy individual, so I'd rather not embarrass him by giving him any more information. Suffice to say that he can do a lot more things with finding people and dealing with people than you or I can. And given a certain link, like, say, the evidence of the blood you had, I think I can get us exactly what we're looking for.
Mind you, that investigation takes time, and time is what we find ourselves lacking in if we were to go looking for Trent's sister.
You think the blood is hers?
It may be hers, it may be her attackers, or it may be a ploy. Either way, investigating the blood with the detail that which you suggest takes time, and we have very precious little of it.
Very well,
mind you, we have the police hunting us. We are involved now between a faction war between Red Scarlets and Mr. Maxwell's.
Oh. I'd hardly call it a war. It's another tiff between the two. It's a little cute, honestly. But I can see your sentiments, Miss Cole. What is your vote, then? The angry, bloodthirsty werewolves?
Do you pose that question to my student or myself?
To both.
I believe I've already given mine.
Mr. Maddox?
Oh boy. I'm gonna have to say follow the leads to the werewolves. I'm more concerned with my sister. I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, but...
At least as far as we know, she is still human, which means that guidance is necessary for her. So, I pocket the bottle of blood again. I suppose I shall agree as well. How do we find these, beasties?
That is where things will become interesting. Okay, out of character, would Lucia know of anyone in the Kindred Society who had connections to the Werewolf Society?
Werewolves.
Yes, of course. Someone very near and dear to you. I speak, of course, of Miss Julian Graves.
Yeah. We're avoiding her right now.
Is she police or regulate?
She essentially polices Kindred affairs as well as anything Kindred related.
They affect the interactions with the werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just had a brilliant stroke of insight. Perhaps we can kill two birds with one stone and still dance precariously on the knife's edge without getting cut.
Oh, that's always fun. Yes.
Well then, with the events of the evening planned in place, it seems as though the coterie has cemented a plan, at least for now, and we'll be back after a short break.